Not everybody is downsizing right now, right? These guys are doing really well. And they know that in a difficult market like we're in right now, you've got to be ahead of the top of mind initiative.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mortgage Influencers, where we bring you professionals who share insight into the latest trends, tips, industry technology, and services to help you be a mortgage influencer in your mortgage business. Well, hi there. Welcome to another episode of Mortgage Influencers. My name is Ginger Bell. I have Scott Shang. Hey, Scott.
Hello.
And Steve Richmond is with us, not on the road today. Go, Steve.
Yeah, baby.
And I'm excited to hop into our conversation with our guest today. And Steve, I'm going to actually let you have the honors of introducing our guest, Katherine, today.
Well, look, I always sit in and I know who I am. And I'm the third wheel in this wonderful bar stool that we have called Ginger and Scott. And I'm just here for the comic relief. But today's special because today we got Katherine Campbell. And Katherine, I have zero idea how long we have known each other, but I know it's been more than 2 weeks. And I mean, we go way back together. And I know you're a CMO, you're captain of marketing, you know everything that's going on. You've lived internationally. You were at Annie Mac for a little while. You did this, you did that. You started your own company, leopardjob.com, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that. You got all kinds of cool stuff going on, and you are a guru in AI because you are a cutting edge individual. Scott says he's a guru, but it's going to be like dueling banjos in back in Deliverance. We're going to see who's got the better AI game. So thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. Happy to be here with you guys. Honor.
And what kicked this off, and what conference was it that we were at? Were we in Virginia?
The Virginia Mortgage Bankers Association. Yeah, great conference.
With the wonderful Walt Lyons was there. And I remember we were talking beforehand and you got up on stage, and yes, you're a great presenter, but you also had some great content. And there's two things you said during that session that just stuck with me to this day. And that's how I want to start this. I'm going to talk about those two things. And I'm going to say, tell me more about that.
Okay.
One thing you said was it took Netflix 3.5 years to get 1 million subscribers, and it
100
took
million. 100 million.
100 million subscribers. I'm sorry. Yes. And it took ChatGPT 5 days to get the same amount of subscribers.
I think it was 2 months. Yeah, but close.
Yes. Well, I actually just Googled it before we came on here. So
did it become 5 days?
Yeah, and so that's what it was.
Wow.
And
so, ask ChatGPT.
No, I did not ask. I Googled it. I tell you, I did.
Well, they stopped, getting content in November 2021. So you got to ask Bard now.
Yeah.
Right. It's all Bard now. And then the other.
Actually, sorry. I was going to say, have you seen it's now February 2022.
Did it expand?
They just updated it.
Yeah.
But with the Bing plugin, all that's gone out the window because that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, as we dive into this, and Steve, I can't wait to hear because I'm totally unprepared for this question, so I can't wait. In the early days, because I've been doing this for 25 years in digital marketing, and not a lot of people can say that. I happen to be smack in the middle of San Francisco when all this started, and I was wowed by it. And when social media came along and they expected marketers to start marketing in it, they said, okay, so do you know social media? In every interview I would go on, right? I'm like, here's the deal. If someone tells you they're an expert in social media, they're lying. There are no experts. This just started, right? Today, you can probably get a college degree in it. So same with AI. This is, very, very quickly evolving. There are no experts in this, certainly from a marketing perspective. But think about it, Steve, just 2 months ago, probably that data has already changed. Look at you to 5 days. So let's go for it. What is it?
Well, so I looked it up while we were talking.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was correct when I said 1 million. You said 100 million in your stat, but it was 5 days till they got 1 million users. So
okay,
it was 2 months to 100 million. So
Gotcha.
Let's get our facts straight.
Good.
So you said that. So yes, people are getting on it and they're doing it quicker. And then you said AI will not replace you, the employee. However, You, the employee that uses AI, will replace those employees that do not use AI.
Exactly right.
Tell me more about that.
Nailed it.
That hit me, and I said, okay, I got to listen to this.
Thank you. And it's really why I started LeopardJob. Find your spot in the new world, right? Because this world is inevitable. This is happening. And this is what I say, you know, it's definitely in the mortgage business, but it's every business right now. We are the people that are taking work as a whole, certainly all the way down to your job in any company, from the way it has worked for the last 20 years to where it's headed, which we don't really know yet, but we're defining that. You know, those of us in the San Francisco Bay Area, like I was just talking about with social media, everything was so new. Navigating a website, do we navigate across the top? Do we navigate down the side? How do we make this work? You know, I got to be part of that initial evolution. You would think, you know, sort of the gap of the time frame from the Industrial Revolution and on with technology, and in the 70s when it was determined that the business of America would be business. Right? We sort of took all of our manual labor and manufacturing and offshored that and got very focused on being efficient. That is now changing. You know, well, certainly that in and of itself dramatically changed America, but now we're looking at a massive global change. There's nowhere else to offshore this stuff. In fact, we're sort of onshoring, bringing back that manufacturing, and a lot of it today is digital, right? It's development. And we have some of the most sophisticated developers right here in the States. Although I do find that even with AI, we still have a very, very collaborative global initiative going on, right? So we have partner teams out in the Philippines and India and all over the place. So it is not happening. The question is, just like the candle maker, which I discussed at that event, people still make candles. They just make them for very different reasons today than they did when they were the light in the room. Now they smell good and they're romantic. You know, they found all these great marketing aspects out of the candle that had nothing to do with the original reason they made them. And so what's happening to me is a massive movement. It is a massive movement. It's not just, okay, this job can now do processing for a loan, right? It can initiate underwriting or you know, an appraisal and ordering title and also the basic things of processing that likely will happen, right? It's more that those mundane tasks that really aren't very human allow us to be more human, allow us to do the work that's much more mindful and thoughtful and collaborative than just rote behavior. And so it's a very exciting time, even though it is a massive change and people are nervous about it.
Got it. Scott, what are you thinking? I mean, you're looking at another AI person, and I know you're like, oh, I want to get their take on something. So I'm going to be for a second.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you're exactly right about a lot of things. There are no gurus. The other thing that I always say is AI isn't a thing. It's everything. It's just an algorithm that changes fundamentally and paradoxically, it's a paradigm shift on how we engage and with the world, with the world's data, with the world's information. And now we have the ability to, like Katherine said, we can think more critically and like if we can describe what we want the output to be like, we no longer have to know how to do the output. It can basically do it for us. If you can describe, I want to get this answer out of this data or out of this information, and you can describe it accurately enough, it can do all the calculations for you. You don't have to know how to do all of that stuff for you. And it's like just a new power source that's gonna plug into the back end. It's gonna power everything that we do. We're not going to know that it's doing these functions and these operations in the background. But it's no, I mean, it's exciting. And you're right. There can't be a guru because it has a different application for so many different uses across everything. Whoever trains the LLM on a specific task, now AI is integrated into that specific task, and that can be done for everything and anything.
So and let's go around. You use it too. I mean, there's, and I think that's it. It's like beginning with, okay, there's, over 1 million users that got on in 5 days. So then I don't know what the numbers are now, Steve, what they're at. But for a lot of people, I just did a webinar for ArchMI on creating an entire marketing campaign through chat for first-time homebuyers. And so I, had people reach out to me, and it's like, I never even thought of using it for that. So I think it begins with, first of all, like you said, where are you going to use it? It's being used now. I mean, if you're on your phone and you ask Siri or Alexa or anything, that's AI. So you're already using it. Now it's a matter of how can you use it within your job? And I love, Katherine, that that's your focus, is because how can you use it in your job? It's like my team, we use AI daily in video editing, in our podcast production, in writing blogs and writing content. I just put a book onto Amazon yesterday for a client, and we utilized AI to help to write that book. And so, I mean, I think that's the whole thing. It's like within that job, what is it going to be? And the next generation, and even in where you are now, what those jobs look like. And so that's what I'm excited. I mean, I love that you're getting into this, because I think that's where it's like, what does that look like? What does that mean? How does that change? How can I embrace that? How can I make it a part of everything I'm doing? And I think the first thing, and Scott, you've done a good job as far as training on how to use it. I think for most people, it's understanding how they overcome that fear of using it. And some of that fear is based on what it is, what it does, and the safety. I did a training on Monday for a group of realtors in Kansas City, and they all were I think most of them had, kids around the age of 13, 14. And so they were all very focused on the safety of it and what they can put in. And so it's like, okay, let's talk about that. So, I think that's a lot of it too, is what is it? What is it? What does it do? How can I use it? And then leveraging it and all those things, Scott, that you're doing. So let's talk jobs, because if you're starting this, it's leopardjob.com. Not live right now, but to be live hopefully by the end of today, right?
End of next week. Yes.
End of next week. Okay.
Yes.
So talk to me about, how that came out, because you've been in the marketing and digital space in the industry for some time, great reputation. Recently, through some obviously changes, not in that capacity. So you're starting something brand new on your own. So talk about that.
Well, it's sort of something that's been in my mind for a while. My degree from college is actually organizational behavior. So the way people work, motivating them to work, understanding how, the differences are the strengths, right? And sort of kind of building a team is really the success behind everything I do, right? Anyone who's successful at a marketing job isn't a body of one typical, right? So how do you get a team to get excited? How do you get a C-suite to get excited about the opportunities, particularly through change? Look at how much change the mortgage industry has gone through. So let me use an example. You have a lot of loan officers very nervous about AI. You have a lot of, operations and people, nervous about it. A few weeks ago, a very senior branch manager, probably one of the top branches we have, called me, set a meeting, and we talked, and he had a couple of people from his office. He said, here's the deal. We want to get a marketing assistant. So not everybody is downsizing right now, right? These guys are doing really well. And they know that in a difficult market like we're in right now, you've got to be ahead of the top of mind initiative. So he said, we want to hire a marketing assistant. These are the things we want her to do, but we don't want her to be too senior, but we need her to really understand social media. As he's talking, I've already opened up ChatGPT. I'm typing in what he's saying he wants that person to do. I, of course, started it with create a job post for a junior marketing assistant, including all of the things he mentioned. I literally just typed out of his mouth, hit enter. It gave a beautiful job description. I hit send to him, and he's like, oh yeah, that's what I want. That's exactly what I want. I said, that's the power of AI.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. May I? Just on what you said, the job description. My son recently got laid off, and he came to me and he said, Dad, will you look at my resume? I said, no. What I want you to do is this: go to ChatGPT, whatever job you're looking at, go for this job and put in the job description, make my resume reflect this job description. And each time he went in, it would change it, not a ton, but a little bit. Like if it says, if he says, oh, I like to present, and it was asking for somebody who's good communicator, it replaced the word communicate with, present with communicate, whatever it was. he got 3 interviews from just doing that by matching their job description with his resume, but redone through ChatGPT.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. He's too smart. He's too busy. He's probably too unfocused being younger. My kids are 25 and 22 to sit and have that mundane task of writing a resume. That branch manager is way too busy to sit and figure out how to write a junior marketing, something that he's totally unfamiliar with anyway. I was too senior to sit and write it myself, right? So these are things that are not replacing any of our jobs. But if it were a marketer that he called that said, oh, I'll spend the day, I'm going to get this done for you, right? Whatever the branch manager wants, I'm going to spend the day doing, I would have lost a day's worth of work trying to figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I would replace a CMO who took longer to get things done. It's not that necessarily their skill set would be worse, but the timing, the efficiency, like Scott is saying, the power behind this allows us to propel into the next level of capabilities.
And what I love about it too is you just had to do a really good job of describing what he was looking for. And that's one of the beauties of these AIs is you can literally just put stream of consciousness. You don't have to worry about grammar. You don't have to worry about punctuation. All you have to do is be able to 365 degrees describe exactly what you're looking for. And you'll get, the better you can describe it, the better results that you're going to get. But that's what's amazing about it. It's like, I know what I want, but I don't know how to write it.
And it's not
your
just
skill set. I mean, that's not what you're good at. And
Right.
so having the assistance, and even if you are good at it, you can still use it to be able to change it, to be able to enhance it, to be able to make it better. That's the thing that's so cool about everything that's happening with AI is it takes you and it makes you have results a little bit faster. So just like the job description, he probably had it in his head what he wanted, but the time to be able to write that out would have taken a couple hours and maybe even longer with distractions. And so having that and then tweaking it a little bit to where like what you did with your son, that was brilliant, Steve, to have that done, to just say, put it in there and have it personalized. You could almost do the same thing for a job posting and you could check out different. So do your A/B testing, right? As far as which one's going to perform better. What kind of, person am I attracting with this? So I think that's the thing with AI. And Scott, you're really good at it. It's like, let's start here and let's dig deeper with it. What else can we do?
Yeah, I had a friend who recently also found himself looking for jobs, and what he did is just put in all of the things that he likes to do, and then asked it for what types of jobs might I be able to be matched with, and it turned out it was something that he didn't even really think of. Like it was like, here's all my skill sets, here's what I like to do. Oh, okay, think about these types of jobs. And then like it sent him down a whole new rabbit hole, and he was excited about, this new adventure going on these things. Oh, I didn't know my skill sets matched this exact job description that he didn't previously do. So like things like that too, that are really, really cool.
When you put your disc profile in there, right, Scott?
Yeah, I put a disc profile and then and I put some other tests like personality and tests and things like that. You can put it in there, and then you can ask it questions about what best suits what things would best suit you, how to communicate with you, how to, that was really interesting because like I kind of get disc. I can read the disc test. And I go, oh yeah, that sounds like me, but I'm like not a scientist when it comes to the disc test. We know people, that are like that just like, oh, this means this, and this. I don't know that, but I can put it in a, well, it was Claude at the time. It was a PDF. So I put it in a Claude and just started asking it questions about myself, and it nailed me. It was so great. So
you've said, okay, we've talked about Claude, we've talked about ChatGPT, we've talked about the Bing, plugin. There's the different plugins. There's so many different things. And I think honestly, right now, for a lot of people, it's almost like, deer in the headlight, not knowing where to start. And so what do you recommend, Katherine? It's like we have a lot of originators. It's like, what's the very first baby step besides getting logged on? where do we get? And we're getting Nick Robertson. Hey, Nick, he's making a comment. Thank you for the AI conversation. I've been investigating and trying out a lot of different options. It's almost overwhelming. And so that's kind of what we're seeing out there. So what do you recommend? Where should someone start?
Can I just say, you said this, you said, get logged on, take your baby step. As a pre-baby step, you have to register for this stuff. It's not a trigger lead, folks. Once you put your email in, I have not gotten bombarded from all of these AI sites coming back and telling me and trying to give me more and more information. So it's okay to sign up. You're not going to get, your whole inbox isn't going to get flooded with
Well,
that
and that's a safety thing. So like the training that I did for this group of realtors on Monday, it's like, okay, there's not any viruses on it. If you get onto it on your computer, there's not any viruses. You do need to be aware of the app. If you're going to put an app on your phone, there are some out there that's not the real chat. So make sure you're using the right one. Don't put any non-public information in there. Don't put any proprietary secrets in there. It does go into a database. Now you can delete your conversations, but as far as we know, it stays there. It'll stay anonymously, but it'll stay there. So that's the safety conversation. So
Katherine,
You're worried about safety. You shouldn't be on the internet. Everybody,
Thank you. It's over, guys.
Or using your phone.
You know everything.
They've got Facebook posts. They're putting all their personal information on there. Like everything that can be known about you is already on the internet. So don't worry about that.
So
Where do we start, Katherine?
So where you start is to start. People are like, I don't know where to start, so I'm not going to do anything, right? Start. Ask GPT, ask Bard, ask, Claude, whatever question comes to mind, just as you know it. You don't have to research it to death. I'm putting a link. I think it's only going to you guys on the panelists. If you want to share it, you're welcome to. Futurepedia is a great place that constantly releases all the latest and greatest about AI, all the little tools that keep coming out. And it's a great place to just check on how do I do travel for myself, right? If you want to get really fancy. But then go on YouTube. There are a couple of guys, if I could grab his name off the top of my head, I would. He is so good. This young kid just takes you through like 5 steps per video. This is how you do it. And he shows you, and give me, let's say my resume based on all of this information, and it pipes out this big resume. And he says, shorten that, make it fit 1 page. And then you realize, I can just kind of keep going with optimizing the experience I'm trying to create. And so that is there. Maybe watch some of those. They're 20 minutes. So decide, I'm going to spend an hour a week. I'm going to spend 2 hours a week, whatever is important to you. But I would say start with fun. If you're really still scared, to start with fun. And so Steve, this was another tip that I shared. StudioShot.ai. It's a place where you go and you just do it from your phone. And it says upload 12 photos of yourself. So, I've done selfies, me and my kids, whatever it is. I uploaded these 12 photos of myself, and it's for $29. I put in my credit card. It gave me 40 beautiful headshots. Now, it wasn't my clothes. It wasn't my jewelry. My hair was a little longer in some, a little shorter in some, a little darker in some, a little lighter in some. I was like, I went blonder, Steve. Can you tell? Because I was like, I kind of like the blonder look that they're coming up with here. So that is just a very fun place to start for you to sort of realize the power in seeing yourself through the eyes of AI for a $29 consolation prize, right? So it's a great way to dive in and have fun with it. And again, the idea is not to scare you. It is to make you think bigger. If I didn't spend my time doing this, what would I really do? And that's what I did. Start a new company. People will do it.
I got my new headshots that way from what you said that. And I went through it. Your comment was, and I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. You said you're going to get 40 fantastic headshots. Well, you're better than me. I got 40 headshots and about 4 of them were fantastic, or 5. I mean, it takes a lot of technology to make this look good.
But if you ask somebody else, they may say something different though, Steve. We're always our biggest critic. And so I put those into the chat. We'll make sure and follow up. The other thing is, when you start doing conversations about AI, and Scott, I know you get a lot of questions. Okay, what can I use for this? I had 5 emails within a very short period of time one day. And it's like, what app can I use to change a video to a blog post? And it's like, okay, we need a directory for this. So I started a directory. It's called aibeehive.com. if you have any suggestions as far as things that you're going to, that are good to use for AI, let me know. We'll add them. Because there's so much, and just, starting to explore in that. And that's the thing. So start with someone fun. I love that advice. Start with something that is going to be easy for you to use and fun for you to use. And it is fun. I mean, yeah. I love when I hop in there and can create something that it's like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. That's really cool. So it'll get you I think it really leans into providing some creativity that we don't necessarily have in the mortgage industry. So that's the thing that I see where people start getting excited, coming up with, branding names, for a book or a podcast or something like that. So.
And as a rookie, the thing that surprised me the most about AI, unlike a Google search where it's one and done, it's a conversation that goes back and forth. So let's say you said, oh, give me a name for a company, and it comes out with 10. It's like, well, I sort of like that, but I'm looking for something a little bit more Southern. And so it knows what it's a conversation. It's not a one question and done. It's an evolution of that conversation.
That's right. And this is the early stages, guys, right? We're in artificial narrow intelligence, ANI, which is basically just the single task. That's all it can do. The example is sort of a computer that we've often seen where it can play chess with someone and the computer always wins. That same computer cannot then teach itself to play checkers. That's sort of the next evolution of AI, which is the artificial general intelligence, where it becomes very human-like. And so, when that becomes the case, we can just say, hey, Siri, go ahead and book my travel and, schedule the kids' pickup time and, have a true assistant where you think of the Jetsons and the robot, really someone would be vacuuming your house. Someone would be making you coffee. We are looking at a very close evolution where our daily lives will change. Well, then if we're not manually, throwing the clothes from the washer to the dryer, what would we do with that time? Mm-hmm. And so it's, plan for it. Don't use it as an excuse to be scared. Use it as a reason to be excited.
Yep.
I love that. Okay. So what we have talked about today is number one, get started. Don't be afraid of it. If you want to get started, start with studioshot.ai. Go ahead and get some for $29, which is an amazing price for some new looks. To go ahead and do that. What's the next step? So how can people, and I'm going to end with this, and then I'd love to have you back once you get your site up and everything. So we can talk about, different jobs, because, I think for a lot of in the mortgage industry, especially to talk about marketing, it's like, okay, cutbacks. We know we're all doing more with less. And so what are some of the things that somebody can say, hey, I can use this in my marketing and it'll save me time? What are some of those things?
Two quick things. One is Shape software is a CRM that sort of is a really intuitive, nice user experience for loan officers that includes the AI in it. So you can just say reply to that email with 1, 2, 3, and it actually will write the email for you. You can say shorten that. Again, all the same capabilities. It can send text for you. It can automate for you. It can remind you automatically that you have follow-up things to do. So find technology that already has it included where you're not having to log into different sources. And these technologies, believe it or not, are actually getting a little less expensive in some ways because the AI is just an open AI platform. And then the other thing is social media. People get really overwhelmed by social media. You can go in and say, give me 30 days worth of content on these 4 products, right? And it will actually build that 30 days for you, and you don't have to think about it every single day. So, or 10 days or twice a week, or however you want to cadence that. Just ask for the output. Now, again, it's just like what you said, Ginger, you're exactly right. It's a great starting point. From there, you might want to add a couple of words, but you're not having to think from scratch every day.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. Well, we look forward to having you back on. And if you'd like to find some more information about Katherine and follow along with her, she's going to be starting a podcast. So I'm excited about that. And it's at leopardjob.com. Site's not live yet, but it will be by the end of the week. And we'll have you back, Katherine, because we want to continue the conversation with you. So thank you so much.
Thank
you. You guys, thanks as always. Hopefully you're both here next week, because Frank Garay is going to be our guest, and he is going to be talking about his MoveTube, and how they've integrated AI into that. And it's pretty cool, Scott, what they're doing. I don't know if you've seen it recently, but honestly, the videos that they're putting together in the MoveTube are showing up #1 on Google. So it's like very exciting what's happening.
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, you guys make it a great week and go get logged on to some kind of AI.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Good seeing y'all. Cheers.